Welcome back to Delta History as we take you deep into one of the most dramatic and revealing moments on the Eastern Front, where Ukraine's drone ambush destroys a massive Russian convoy near Pokrovsk in an engagement that illustrates how modern warfare is being reshaped in real time. Because as dawn breaks over scarred farmland and fractured tree lines, a long column of armored vehicles advances with apparent confidence. Tanks at the front, infantry fighting vehicles spaced along the route, logistics trucks heavy with fuel and ammunition following closely behind, its commanders calculating distance, timing, and pressure points under the assumption that mass and momentum can still dictate the tempo of battle, unaware that high above them, a silent network of Ukrainian reconnaissance drones has already been tracking their movement for hours, mapping speed, spacing, vehicle types, and vulnerabilities, transforming what appears to be a powerful offensive maneuver into the early stages of a carefully constructed trap. For weeks prior to this movement, the area surrounding Pokrovsk had grown in strategic significance, serving as a logistical hinge between contested sectors and a potential launch point for further advances. And both sides understood that control of this corridor could influence operational momentum across a much wider stretch of the front line, which is why the convoy was assembled with scale and purpose, combining armored protection with artillery support and the fuel capacity necessary to sustain prolonged operations. Yet, in modern conflict, size alone no longer guarantees superiority because visibility has changed and the sky itself has become an extension of the battlefield, constantly monitored by compact aerial systems capable of observing, recording, and transmitting real-time intelligence to operators far beyond the immediate range of conventional engagement. As the convoy presses forward along a narrow roadway bordered by shallow embankments and open agricultural land, Ukrainian drone teams positioned miles away study live feeds with methodical focus, identifying command vehicles by antenna arrays, spotting fuel carriers by their distinct silhouettes, tracking electronic warfare units tasked with jamming hostile signals, and calculating the precise moment when the formation stretches just enough to expose its most vulnerable segments, because the objective is not random destruction, but structural paralysis. A coordinated strike that disables the lead and rear elements simultaneously to seal the column inside a corridor, where maneuver becomes nearly impossible, and confusion multiplies faster than orders can be issued. When the signal is finally given, the first strike descends with calculated precision, a drone diving sharply toward the lead armored vehicle and detonating in a violent eruption that blocks the road ahead in smoke and twisted steel. And before the shock can fully register, a second explosion tears through a logistics truck at the rear of the formation, cutting off retreat and compressing dozens of vehicles into a confined line where spacing collapses and drivers attempt frantic reversals only to collide with vehicles behind them, while infantry dismount into exposed terrain, searching for depressions or tree lines that offer little genuine protection against threats arriving from above. And thick smoke begins to roll across the roadway as secondary blasts ignite ammunition stores and fuel reserves, transforming what moments earlier was an organized advance into a chaotic bottleneck under constant aerial observation. Above this unfolding disorder, additional drones adjust trajectories in real time, guided by continuous reconnaissance that highlights clusters of regrouping troops and high-value platforms attempting to reposition, turning every effort to restore coordination into another opportunity for precision engagement. And as armored hulls blacken under repeated impacts, communications falter, commanders struggle to re-establish control amid disrupted signals and overlapping orders. Electronic countermeasures activate in an attempt to jam or confuse incoming systems, yet the drone network adapts through layered redundancy and frequency shifts that maintain operational tempo. demonstrating a level of resilience that underscores the evolution of decentralized strike capability where multiple small systems cooperate as a unified web rather than relying on a single vulnerable channel. The geography around Pokrovsk amplifies the devastation because narrow approach routes restrict lateral movement and soft ground prevents rapid off-road escape, while the wide open fields provide almost no concealment from aerial surveillance, transforming the convoy's size from a symbol of strength into a magnified liability, where each disabled vehicle compounds the obstruction and creates a cascading paralysis that freezes the entire formation in place. And over the next hour, the engagement unfolds with disciplined intensity as reconnaissance drones continue streaming targeting data and strike drones rotate through successive attack runs, maintaining sustained pressure without exposing Ukrainian ground forces to direct armored confrontation and highlighting a tactical shift in which information dominance, speed of decision-making, and precision engagement outweigh sheer numerical mass and heavy plating. As towering plumes of smoke rise high above the battlefield visible for kilometers, the psychological dimension of the ambush becomes as profound as the physical destruction, because soldiers trained for conventional engagements now confront an adversary that remains largely unseen, striking from angles impossible to predict and withdrawing just as quickly. And the once orderly advance dissolves into fragmented pockets of resistance, surrounded by burning wreckage, while Ukrainian forces maintain calculated distance, documenting damage, confirming target neutralization, and ensuring that the disruption extends beyond immediate destruction into the broader logistical framework that sustains offensive operations. Every immobilized fuel truck delays artillery resupply. Every destroyed command vehicle fractures coordination between units. Every damaged transport reduces the ability to rotate troops or reinforce vulnerable sectors, and the ripple effects extend far beyond this single stretch of road near Pokrovsk into supply chains, reinforcement schedules, and strategic planning timelines, illustrating how a localized ambush can generate operational consequences that echo across an entire theater of conflict. And by midday, the attempted push has halted completely, leaving behind a corridor of twisted metal and scorched earth that stands as stark evidence of a shifting battlefield paradigm, where control of low-altitude airspace determines survival as decisively as control of territory on the ground. As evening descends and residual fires flicker against a darkening horizon, the battlefield grows quieter, yet the strategic message resonates across the wider conflict that dominance no longer belongs exclusively to the heaviest armor or the longest-range artillery, but to the force capable of integrating intelligence, mobility, adaptability, and precision into a cohesive system that can outpace and outmaneuver larger formations, turning the ambush near Pokrovsk into more than a localized tactical success, but into a symbol of transformation in modern warfare, where unmanned systems exert influence once reserved for massed divisions, and where awareness extends beyond the visible horizon into a persistent digital and aerial domain that shapes outcomes before ground forces ever make contact. And as we reflect on this dramatic engagement, we are reminded that every burned vehicle marks not only a halted advance, but also a lesson in vulnerability, adaptation, and the accelerating evolution of conflict in the 21st century. And for more deep analysis of the strategies, technologies, and turning points shaping today's battlefields, make sure you stay with Delta History and subscribe to Delta History for the next Frontline breakdown.